Hello everybody and welcome to yet another stream. Me, Captain Andy D. And if you look at the plane in the background, today's dangerous approach, we're flying from Mike November Mike Golf. I cannot pronounce the airport name. It's a little bit way down in Honduras, and then we're going up to the famous Toncontin dangerous approach that is in Honduras. And we're taking with us the Bravo 738, so the PMDG version of the 738, but it is a BBJ, so it's a business jet variant. So I'm going to show you inside on what that business jet actually looks like. So first of all, let's just jump on board, and if we just look quickly at the interior, so this is the difference, that if you've ever been on a commercial airplane, this is what they get, and then there's plush business cabins all the way through, so pretty cool. So let's set up the aircraft ready for flight, and we'll go through and see why this is one of the most dangerous approaches we could do. So first things first, we've got to tell the computers where we are, so we're going to go position and initialize, clear that out, and we're starting at Mike November Mike Golf. Put that up here. It doesn't recognize my gate, so we'll go to the left side, because that is the master side, that's the side I'm flying from, and I'm going to place that into the IRS position. We're then going to go to our route, and our origin is already still in there for where we typed it, but our destination this time is Mike Hotel Tango Golf, and we'll put that in there, and then we're going to request a flight plan that I've got done already in SimBrief. It's only a short flight, this one. And then I'm going to set payload, and I'm going to select, that's too quick, and I'm going to select the route, and we'll just wait for that route to load quickly. We can release the fuel truck now. We've got fuel, so that could go. I'm going to return. I'm having a right problem with my GSX at the minute. I don't know if anybody else is. Let's close the cargo up. So we're going to load the route in. And while the route is uplink loading, we could go ahead and close that door. I'm going to activate the route. Now, we have to activate it because of what we're doing. So it doesn't know where we're going, so we're taking off on runway 10. So we're departing. Excuse me. We're departing on the Libsy one, which is this one, and runway 10, and then we're going to execute that. So that gives us our way out of this airport, and we're also going to put our arrival in because it's such a short flight. And we're going in RNAV 2, and we're going in the Libby 1 Alpha and the TNT transition. We could do the MELV transition, actually. What do you reckon? Should we do the MELV transition? No, let's do the TNT, because that's the way we're coming, and although we don't do a massive circle round, what we will do is go across and follow the circle approach in. So we're going to execute that as well. So then on our routes, we could go to performance initialization. So I've already just check I've got everything removed. We've got 41 passengers on board, which is good. So I'm going to go back to legs. And the only constraint so I'm going to take that one. Now we're going to place it there. We're going to execute that, and that should close that gap. Yep. So what I'm going to do, the only constraint I really want is this one here, and I want to be at 220 knots by 7,000 feet. I'll explain why in a minute. Sorry, that's wrong. Let me just clear that off. I want to be at 200 knots at 7,000 feet. I'm going to show you the approach and why it's dangerous and challenging. In the real world, you have to be a specialist trained pilot to do this route. So that's something. 220. No. Oh. 2220. What was that? 8,000, wasn't it, that one? Such a doofus. And this one I want 2220 knots, and the bracket should give me. Then we're going to execute that, go back to legs, go to route data. I'm going to request the winds. Okay, doesn't want to do that. 0 fuel weights, 50.5 is iron, which is fine. Cost index for this trip is 5, and we're only going up to 22,000 feet. I think the reserve's like 1.4. Not that it's a massive issue. So we're taking I did the calculator on SimBrief. So SimBrief has its own takeoff performance calculator, which I'm finding a lot better than the takeoff performance calculator embedded in the PMDG tablet. So the selected temp it's given me is 54 degrees. That reduces my throttle output to 90.8%, and we can go ahead and take off on a derated 2 takeoff, which is this one down here. So I'm going to select that. It selects its own climb profile. I'm going to be happy with climb 1. I don't need to go to climb 2 because it's short distance. Then we go to our takeoff page. Now this one we are definitely flaps 5, CG 481 trim, but SimBrief calculated us at 128, 128, 135. So okay, it's just the top one. We could keep the top one, keep that one, and then we're going to change that one to 135. And then that would take us to a 145 on the MCP. We've got 41 souls on board, 41 passengers, so let's hope we make the landing. 41 souls on board, we've got a ton of cargo, 0 fuel weight, so that's before fuel is 50 tons, and after fuel is 54.4 tons. And that is us set on the FMCs. Okay, on here then, I'm going to place this to TA only. We'll come back down to this panel in a minute. This is for the ton content VOR, so we'll set that up. Everything is set correct there. Everything is set on the pedestal correctly, and overhead. So place the logo light on now, anti-collision light on now. That is correct. We're going to go run through our tests of the systems now, starting from top to bottom. So we're going to go our flaps, make sure we've got full LED on our flaps. That could go to position. We're going to check the flight recorder. The light goes out, so that is correct. We're going to check our speed warnings. So both airspeed warnings are good on both systems and our storm. And our stall warnings are good also on both systems. So we'll come back down the panel then. We've got a few things we're checking on here. So we're on ground power at the minute. We're going to select our left aft pump after we've done the tests, start up the APU and get pushed back. Before we do that, let's bring on the make sure we've got our call buttons working. The seat belts can now come on because we're refueled. We're going to test the cockpit voice recorder. Green light, green's good. I'm going to go up. The electric pumps are on, and I'm going to put on the window heats just for an overheat test. Okay, as soon as I've done this test, I'm going to shove them straight back off. The overheat then tells me that this system's okay, so I can set that off. I'm going to make sure the probe heats come on and the lights extinguish, which they have done. I'll take them back off now. Same with the anti-ice. They'll stay a light blue because the engine anti-ice relies on the bleeds from the engines, and that's light blue, so that's okay. So we can take them back off and they should all extinguish. Coming down this panel then, well, we are in Honduras, so let's get some cool air into the cabin. And then we're going to test the overheats on the packs. Everything's good to go there. That has to come off for now. Our flight cruising altitude is 22,000 feet, okay, and our landing altitude 3,300. It's about 28, but the nearest 50 is 3,350 feet, okay. So they're the tests we've done on there. Coming out here, then we're going to test the faulting ups and the overheats. Faulting ups is correct, and the engine fire. And we're going to check the fire extinguisher bottles on the left side. Green's good. And then on the right side. Oh, wrong one. Let me just... And the right side. So there you go. So green is good. Green is ready to go. we're happy. And then coming back down the pedestal here, we're going to check our cargo detection system. Okay, so we're going to test that. And that is good to go. And finally we're going to do a TCAS test. So I'm going to press this test button, come back up, and we're looking at the panels in there. Now if you're new to aviation, what is TCAS? Well, TCAS is Traffic Collision and Avoidance System. So it tells us what aircraft we've got in the vicinity. Okay, the next tests here, we're going to be checking our FMC and our caution awarded indicators, which are good. And also on this side, it's very important we check everything for this flight. Remember our, reset that, that's 6 degrees. We'll come back to this in a minute. We test our integral lighting, so as we come back, we could check everywhere's got it, which it has, and then we can come back out of there. So once we've checked that, we've got another check to do, and this time we're going to check the throttles, and it should give us an alarm because we're not in takeoff config. So fully forward, and there you go, you can just see in the top of the screen there takeoff config, and we'll put them back. And the last test we're going to be doing before takeoff is our systems test. Our systems measures the sink rates, your wind shear and terrain.
Wind shear, wind shear, wind shear, terrain, terrain, pull up.
Okay, so now that's on. Just get stable on my head tracker. Look, we're taking off our runway 10, so we're going to push back nose left up to 10, and it's 97 degrees runway headed. So let's update that. There's no restrictions also on our SID today, so we could go ahead and go straight up to our cruising altitude also. At 22,000 feet. Ooh. Sorry, click spot was a bit sensitive there, so the altitude goes up to 22,000 feet. Now that's done, I'm going to bring the flight directors on. Now the flight director on my side has to come on first, else I won't be the master, and I'm the one flying, so I'm got the master flight director, and the first officer will have the other one. So our radios are already set, and our barometric pressure is set to the correct altitude. I'm now going to bring on the left fuel pump, aft fuel pump, and that will enable me now to start the APU. So I'm going to bring that down and click start. I'm also going to go ahead and require pushback while we're here. I don't know why GSX isn't working. So we're going to do a pre-planned pushback. And we want to be facing left. And that is good. So we'll be doing that in a minute. We're just waiting for the APU to come on board. Requesting the winds, because I forgot to do that. Okay, the APU's back on board now, so let's take the power off the ground unit, put on the bleeds for the passengers, and we can remove the ground power. And we'll load them winds. And we'll execute them. And now it'll give me the forecast for the descent. So I'll go to the descent, the forecast, and I'll load the winds again. It's only a short flight. Normally you'll do this during cruise. And then it will give us better use calculations. There we go. So, why is this approach dangerous? Let me just show you. Be easier. So this is the approach. So coming into Toncontin isn't an instrument landing, it's a non-precision approach for a start, which means we've got to rely basically on the runway and the VOR at the positioning, and it's all around this mountainous area here, and it's a very specific glide slope to come down, 3.5 degree glide slope. Your missed approach is actually 4,000 feet. Your missed approach is actually 4,000 feet, which is quite good. Okay, let's concentrate now back onto the flight. We're going to get going. You'll see when we're doing the approach why it's dangerous. We overfly the airport, and we're literally got to use visual cues to get on in there. Okay, so we can now... Right. I'm just stuck my head tracker for 2 seconds. We're going to now come into our FMCs, because what I want to do is get rid of the ground power. So we can release that. I'm going to check the doors. They're all shut. And now we are ready to rock and roll. So let's go ahead and request our pushback. So I'm going to extend that. Request pushback. I release my parking brake, so hold my toe brakes in. There we go. And then let's go ahead and get our pushback started. Whilst we're pushing back, we're going to start our engines up. I started right last time, so it'd be the left engine, ground, bring on the fuel pumps. Bring my engine display up. Turn my packs off. And then our N2 is starting to rise on that bottom panel. %, so I'm going to put in the fuel. Yeah, so I really don't know what's happening with GSX. I've uninstalled it, reinstalled it, updated it, and it doesn't seem to want to work, the menu at all. If anybody knows how to fix this, please let me know. So a good ignition there on number 1. Sorry, number 2. Wait for the starter switch to kick out. Kicked out, put that into continuous, put number 1 into ground start. Okay, so I've got to put the parking brake on. Parking brake is set. Just let them know it's done. That's pushback completed. That's 20-odd%. Bringing in the fuel to number 1. And we're looking for our ignition. There it is. The middle of the 2 upper panels is climbing. Bring number 2 gen onto the buzz, that's ready to rock and roll. Just waiting for number 1 to stabilise. Number 1 is stable. That could go to ground. And let's bring number 1 onto the buzz. Let's take the APU off. And everything now should be good. Packs could go back on. Want to be able to breathe. Window heats could come on also. Start with Gen 1's transformers is correct, and Gen 2's transformers, which is correct. Okay, so now we're going to get ready to start our taxi, so we've just got another few checks to do first. Bring up my yoke. Okay. I don't know why that's doing that. It's full back, full forward, left, right, and then my rudders. Left, right. I don't know why we've got an amber warning there. Got low pressure tyres, I think. You do this a few times. These work off the hydraulics, not the electrics. So that's true, as in a real world. We'll sort them out. Okay, that's good to go. Flaps. Our setting was 5. And our trim. Our trim was 4.81. It's 4.81 on the trim wheel down here. Zoom in. So we got to go nose down a little bit. Okay, that's good enough for me. And let's start the taxi. Before we do that, let's just place our taxi. Runway turn off lights on. Do that closer to the runway, and we're just going to recall flight controls. Flaps. So doing our recall there on our got flaps 5. I don't know why I got flight control up. We've got flow so we could go. So let's go ahead now and taxi. That's the trim just needs to come a little bit up. Let's try it now. Flight controls. Let's go through this again. Rudder's good. Flights ailerons were good. Let's just jump outside to make sure the pushback hasn't left anything on the aircraft. I'll tell you what I'm going to do when I'm out here. Let's just check the deflections. The ailerons are working. The elevons are working. And the rudder is definitely working. Recall again. Flight controls. I don't know why that's coming on. Well, let's get going. Just going to bring that back on. Give them a cycle. If you bleed could come off now. Your damper could come on. And let's recall. There we go. Cycle the electric pump, so it's probably the yaw damper that did it. So let's go ahead and release the parking brake. Parking brake released. Put a little bit of power on the aircraft. We're going to taxi down to runway 10. Pretty slow to get going. So I'm going to do something else here very quickly. I think the tyres have took a hammering over the last few flights, so let's quickly get them serviced. FS actions, ground maintenance. Hopefully that'll be what's the problem. Yeah, there you go. Look, it was the tyres that were the issue. So let's go back. Let's go back and Auto brakes, flaps 5, trim is done, fuel is reset. Jump on for the track, release our parking brakes. Parking brakes released, thrust. We're starting to move very slowly, which is concerning. Okay, we're starting to move now. A little bit of thrust. A lot of thrust just to get going. It's very strange. There we go. Okay. Why not got my hood? A very speedy okay, that was a very quick. We're just going to come to a complete stop here while we go ahead and put our strobe lights on. Landing lights all come on now. TCAS goes to TARA. Okay, ready to go. Let's go forward. Hopefully that's unstuck whatever it was that was stuck. Okay, moving on to the runway now. Just watching the approach. One extreme to the other. Okay, let's line up. Horrendous lineup. Come on. We're not going to go perfectly centered here. I don't know what's going on with this aircraft. But I need 72% thrust to move it. You know what? Let's just do a rolling start. Auto throttle is armed. So auto throttle is armed. Brakes to RTO. LNAV and VNAV is armed, ready to go. Let's go. Foot on the brake, up to 50%. Release the brakes and take off. He hopes. There we go. There we go. Airspeed's alive. 100.
V1.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
Gear up.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain. Don't
Flaps.
sink. Don't sink.
Flaps to 1. Trim the aircraft. Taxi and runway lights could come off. So I don't know what was going on there. I don't know whether it's because I preset the barrel or something that he thinks, oh, you know. So we're a level flight. Let's put the autopilot on. Flaps now are coming up. Auto brakes off. Go to the off position, and wing light can come off now as well. Transition here is 19,000 feet, just so you know, you're not aware. 98 degrees now, turning in. Let's bring up our this is our departure here. So we're swinging out left. And that will put us on a track of 329 degrees roughly. And not for this one, definitely for the next. So, Honduras. We are literally in the air for not even 40 minutes. So in total, from start to finish, this flight is less than an hour. But, that's if we... that's if we land and don't do a go-around. You know, it's quite possible where we are going. That should be off. Oh yeah, I put them on. That's off. And it collisions on. That's on. That's on. That's on. They're off. Landing lights stay on to 10,000. See, there's our top of climb. Our top of descent is going to be roughly there. Look, so it's not a long flight at all. So we're going to be turning out to 329 degrees. Let's get that set in. And the landing lights now can come off. And that is us good to go. 10,000 seatbelts can come off because it's a short flight. Basically the little blue airplane there is us, and that's where we're going. And then as we leave here, Ilsu, we go to Libis, and then through down into Toncontin. So yeah, there's not much to do during cruise, as we know. But we've already set up everything, so I'm just going to keep an eye on the... going to keep eyeing the instruments during the climb. And obviously we're going to get ready for that special approach. Pretty nervous actually. Bit cloudy as well today. Now, as we mean, this is a non-precision approach, which basically means yes, we've got an RNAV aid to enable us to a certain point, a certain reference, and but from that reference it's purely hand flying, purely hands on, and on a big jet. So that's all good. I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, the landing itself is going to be immense, which I'm looking forward to. The barrow's set, the radio, but if I switch that to barrow now, it's going to be like 4,000 feet, I believe. So let me just switch that. Okay, no, so the radio, that's above sea level, so that'll be about 4,000 feet for my missed approach. So 331 level flight. We could go 30-degree bank. And like I said, there you go, the top of the descent is already coming in. The top of the descent is already coming in. Now, I know for a fact what my approach is going to be, so let's go ahead, standard pressure. Let's go ahead and program in the reference for the approach. So init reference, we're going to be around, so it doesn't really matter, I've already done the calculation on so 143 is going to be our actual approach. Put that into there. It's 1,000 to go, that alarm was, before we go up. If you're viewing, hello, you're very welcome. I hope you're well. I hope you enjoy the channels. It's also, we're streaming to 2 channels at once today. We're going to, obviously, on Twitch and on my YouTube channel, which is pretty cool. So we're looking at 143, and the reason I put that is because our gross weight isn't going to be this by the time we get there. So if we're going to progress, we'll have 2.2 tons of fuel left. Okay, 2.2 off there will be 51 wad. So if I put that in, it's my gross weight. It gives me anyway sort of lower, but I know it's 143 because I use SimBrief calculator. Let's just bring that down. Okay, so that is us ready to rock and roll. We've got our top of this egg coming up, and we could, you know, get ready. And we're going to put in our missed approach altitude of 4,000 feet. Well, 4,144 feet according to the approach, but we're going to put in 4,100. And I'm also going to turn off the terrain. There you go. That's it. Course is 20. We need to double check that actually. So let's just double check the course is going to be 20 degrees. I've just guessed at that because it's runway 2. Approach. That's the one I want. So final approach course is 020, and we're going to use the ton content VOR as a reference as well. And the way we do that is I've got it tuned in 112.3. We've got a course set in, and I could just check it with a VOR, so I could put VOR 2 on. It's not picked it up yet, but if I go to VOR 1, when it picks it up, we'll have a range and a bear into that. But also, if I flick to VOR on this screen, it already knows it's the ton content VOR there. It says TNT. The course is 20 degrees, and it'll give me a bearing and radial to that. Why is that important when it's a non-precision approach? Because it puts us on track. That's why it's important. It puts us on track. Okay, so if we look at the approach, this is the airport here. We are actually coming from ton content, so we're coming from the south. If it was coming from the north, we'd be coming from Melvo. Okay, but we're coming to ton content, and we should be going TG018, TG006. Let me just check the legs a minute, because TG18, TG006 is missing. So I'm going to put that in. So Tango Golf 006. So that's going to go above there. And that is going to go there. Execute that. And we need to be at 6672 at that one. But this is to make sure we come across like this. So the minute we've got 987 TG18. Just go back through a minute. So TG18 at 7,600 above, which is correct. We want to do this arc here. So we're going to overfly the runway, do this arc, go past Tango Golf 006 into Tango Golf 15, and we want to be at 7,000 feet. And I have put in there 7,000 feet, so we know we're going to be at that. And because I'm getting no warnings, it's saying that of course we'll be able to meet that point. So we're going to be descending in less than 40 minutes. Let's just scroll out a little bit. Auto brake's going to be max. Flaps 30. And the reason why I've also inserted TG006, although it's from the Melvo transition, okay, if I didn't, basically I'd come to Toncontin and cut straight across to TG015, and that's not what we want at all. That's got 18 now, so we are going round in that loop. Top descent coming in, and when it comes in we're going to go early, 20 miles ahead of schedule, and go down. So the cabin crew know we're nearly ready for descent. Oh, this is a different livery of PMDG. I did a practice run on this, obviously. But don't worry, that doesn't mean I'm good at this approach. As you know, if you're an avid viewer, anything could happen here on this channel. It's a different day, different weather. Yeah, so what to do? That should be locked out. Just lock it out. It's now during the landing I won't be speaking much because I'm going to be going at this on my yoke, and just trying to not crash into Honduras's mountainous terrains. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Quick swig. We have got, this is just one of 12 approaches. If you missed the last one, I did the Tenzing Hillary at Mount Everest approach in the first one of this series, which I consider still probably the most dangerous of them all. And that's in another stream video, so you can check that either on my YouTube or in the past streams on my channels, in the videos or about. This one is Toncontin. So we've got 12. I'm doing 12 of the most deadliest, dangerous approaches that we can do. And they are St. Martin's, Kansai, Courchevel, Koshuk, Paro, St. Helena, Gibraltar, Sao Paulo, and Phoenix, Ross Island in the Antarctic. And to do that one, we're going to take the C-17 Globemaster. Okay, I'm going to decide to descent now. Yes, please. And I'm going to bring my throttles all the way back. So we keep, because there you go, see? Like I said, it's a very, very short flight. Very short flight. And I would just let the aircraft descend to those first altitudes that we want. Although I put 4100 on, it knows I have a constraint at 700. So, and then I'll also, the VOR, is that up yet? Yeah, okay, so 67 miles, that's the radius, an inbound radius to the VOR, Toncontin VOR, and it's at 68.6 miles. Now for this approach, we really, can zoom you out a little bit. we'll put that on 20. Actually, we'll put him on the VOR, and the reason why I'm going to do that is I'll show you in a second. So VOR is 1 click. Then I'm going to center that. And I'm going to bring him down onto my screen using the ND switching. So I've got a visual also of the VOR. So we're not stressing the aircraft, we're not stressing the passengers here, because at the end of the day, they might all die with me flying. Continuous then for both the engines. Wing lights can come on, and the rest of the lights we'll put on at the relevant time. 10,000, so 10,000 more feet for the landing lights. And when we drop the gear, we'll put the runways, taxis, and wheel wells on. So unfortunately, transition altitude is 19,000. Now, to give the cabin crew enough time to sort out the arrival and descent of the cabin to make sure it's secure, unfortunately the passengers, I'm going to have to put the belts on at 18,000. That gives the cabin crew 8,000 to deal with it. Oh, I've got some outs to share with you all as well at the end of the stream. So there's standard, well 19,000 is standard, so we'll wait till we pass through it. There's 19,000, and what we're going to do is I'm going to do the barrow, and there you go, drops us to 18,000, and seatbelts can come on. And what you're going to notice during this approach as well, when we're using the Tom Conti VOR, is the pink bar that's in the middle screen will drift to the center of the VOR needle. If you don't know what VOR is, it's very high frequency omnibidial reading. It's basically an aid to navigate or an aid to land. Now obviously this VOR is set right forward of the approach we're doing on runway 2, as you can see by there. It's slightly offset, so we can't use it as a direct approach, if you like, a direct landing aid. So we have to use what's called an RNAV procedure, which is this. But we're just going to basically do this massive circle. And for this approach now, I am going to keep on top of my headings. I got my missed approach set. What could go wrong? I have no idea what could go wrong, but knowing me, something will go wrong. Let's just check the transformers on both generators. Everything's good there. Something's bound to trip me up here. I'm just waiting for it to pop its ugly head. Have I missed anything? Did I do that? I did that, yeah. Wind. Oh. I'm nervous. I think I'm more nervous doing this approach than any of them, because it I don't think it's a very forgiving approach. I mean, look at the terrain. Look at the terrain. It's just why would you want to land here? Why would you build an international airport in the middle of mountains? I could understand the Lukla one, you know, Tenzing Hillary Airport, because that's at the base camp to Everest, but why? Why, oh why? Not build it somewhere sane? I shouldn't say that. Well, I should, because it's insane. Look at the patchiness on the... Joe, I removed that Bing's map app. It was a modification you can have on to really updated all the map in a simulator, but it was not supported by Flight Sim. So basically, if you had a problem with it, on your own head be it, basically. So yeah. Who miscalled me? Huh. So we're going into that first lot. Look at the weather. Look at the weather. Can it get any more difficult, do you think? The answer is yes. If you've ever seen me hand fly the Boeing 737-800, you'll realise actually how difficult this is going to get. Recall. I forgot to recall. There we go, it's done. Yeah, speed brake could come out as well. We don't really need, but I don't mean speed brake out. What I mean is obviously the speed brake, I can arm it. Look at that weather. We turned it, so we're going to hook around right, so there's a big mist of cloud there out to the right, so let's hope, fingers crossed people, that we're going to make it. I'm only streaming the short one flight today. Maybe tomorrow we'll do a couple of the dangerous approaches to start ticking them off, but I've got family coming, can't wait to see them, as we don't live near them anymore. So, and then I believe we're going out for dinner. But I will tell you I got something cool yesterday, and I'm gonna play with it later, and you're gonna see. But yes. $2:00. So we're now only 31 miles away from Tom Conti VOR. Because of the nice descent we've got here, we don't need to stress about airspeed and stuff like that. So what I can do is gently slow down, do a speed intervene in the VNAV, and gently slow down the aircraft. And here it is, look, this is our approach, which is there. 7,677 623 5999. Well, I know I've put my barrows on, so let's go down to 3. Yeah, let's go down to 3-4 actually on the lowest altitude, 3-4, because I've got my radio already set on both sides. We could do that. That's fine. I've got the constraints in. God, we're literally 57 miles away from either death or survival. I have no idea which one. So let's just bring that in. For accuracy on the needle down there. Oh, the weather's not that bad actually. It's just a bit hazy. Well, there's the turn into Tom Compton then. This is into our Tango Golf 050. It's just a transition to the for the south. Tom Compton then is on a slight right from there. Well, we're going to be going right. Now, during this approach, because it's a circle arch, and there's no way keeping a track of the heading, I am going to match my course heading 020 just to help me later on. Why? Why build an airport in the middle of this? I mean, I've not seen very many population centres either. Must have a deal on with the local taxi firms. That's 10,000. Landing lights on. Cabin crew advised. I'd say which one I'm looking forward to the most. There's one on here I've never even heard of. It's a British island, very remote. I think it's in the South Atlantic. It's called St Helena. It's the shortest. I believe it's the shortest runway you can get. But the problem is, from a local international airport, you're talking 6 to 8 hours of flight time. Now that's a hell of a time to stream. So what I'm doing is I'm going to go from St Helena back into St Helena and just basically pretend to do a tour flight or something, because there's no way I'm going to sit here for 6 to 8 hours with this going. So coming back, so coming back to me now. So the runway is going to be off our nose in around about 12 miles. Oh, I'm stuck on my leads. Let's see. That's not what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. So let's see if we can spot the runway on our descent down. Great, there's some wind turbines to contend with as well. I think there's a population centre just before the airport. Where are we? We're going to start that turn into Honduras. There it is, look. So the runway is going to be dead off our nose in a couple of minutes. Now to help me with this approach, I'm also going to look at some local landmarks. So as I'm coming back around, might help me to line up a little bit quicker or easier with the terrain. The runway is dead in front of us now, and we can tell that because the VOR needles are dead on 018 degrees. So for us to land straight in, you could do a straight in approach, but you'd have to be very good because the terrain here, I don't know, that'd be a very steep last descent and it's just not possible. So we're going to overfly the runway. Here is the airport coming up right in front of us now. Nice lake. Some big cities there then. Although Honduras just looks stunning, doesn't it? Mountainous, green, deserty. Got some lakes. Wonder if they've got some big fish in there. I like fishing. So that's the runway we're going to eventually land on. Right off our nose. If you can't quite see that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly point it out to you. That is the runway there. Where my cursor is, we're going to be landed on that runway. So we're going to overfly it slightly to the right. So when we get directly over the VOR, we're going to head out to the right and do that circle around this mountainous terrain. And as you can see, we're holding at 8,000. The VNAV is armed. It'll now go down to our next constraint, which is 7,000.
Traffic. Traffic.
Well, I doubt it, 'cause I've got no traffic on. So, anyway. We're on the approach now, so that could go to TA only. Oh no, TCAS shouldn't. TA only, I went too far. Click. There we are, that's the one we've got to make it. If you look at it, look how... that there is like a... at the end of the runway is like a big dip. So maybe... okay. Okay, good. Let's do a speed intervene and let's go 200 knots, and we'll start putting out some flaps and configuring. There goes flaps 1. Speed check for flaps 1. APU on. Flaps 2 and flaps 5. Start with a little bit of drag on the aircraft. Literally nearly there now. There's a little blue airplane look on the map, so we're just coming around here. This is the start of the glide, and then from there it'll be a manual flight from the missed approach point, so probably between TG 12 and 11 will be manual flight. Just match the throttles up. Throttles matched. Close as they're gonna be. So the highest point here is 5,000, say 5,300 feet. We're well above that anyway. Why? Why? Bulldoze down some of the mountains. Let's see if we land, eh? Let's see if we land this thing. There's no real landmark that I could see from this altitude either, which didn't help whatsoever. And this is taking us inside the arc, which I'm not too happy about. It could just be the accuracy of the... when we get to 15 it might swing back round correctly. Remember our reference was 143. And literally we're going to sweep round all the way round and into the airport, which is over here, right behind us. Stay clear of these mountains. And I'm going to maintain 160 knots now. I'm going to drop the gear. Flaps 15 for drag. And then what we'll do is we'll do the final lots. Wheels, yes. Taxi runways can come on also. APU is available. Might need it.
2500.
2500 check. So we're coming round. Whoa, hands on yoke, getting ready. Throttle set. TG012, where do we want to be? We want to be about 5,600 feet. The profile looks pretty good actually. I noticed a road that we could probably follow in as well.
2500.
2500. Missed approach point is TG11. Throttles matched. I think I'm going to keep autopilot. Let's take that off. Keep auto throttles on. Let's go to 145. Sorry, 143 was our pitch. Just a little bit fast there. A little bit of tribord.
Approaching minimums. Minimums.
We could continue it.
1000.
Check 1000. So I'm now steering the aircraft myself. Bit of a stall there. Should be able to see the airport. As you can see there, it's going to be a tight turn in. Wow. This is
500.
This is going to be a long landing, I can guarantee you that.
400. 300. Sink rate. Pull up. Pull up.
Save
Sink
the
rate.
touchdown markers.
Pull up. Sink rate.
Come on.
10.
Well, we touched down. Will we stop in time? Stop, 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 stop. We did. Wow, that was actually very intense, that. So we landed at Tom Content. Just disarm the speed brakes. Let's get some flaps up. Auto brakes are off. Whew, we did it. So literally I'm just going to push off the runway here. You're going to hear some buzzers. I just want to get us off the runway. And then that is it. Well, this, I don't know what's going on with this jet. Okay. Let's just get off the runway. It might be the elevation we're at, you know, and the weight. Yes, yes, yes. It's annoying. Okay, we're safely off the runway, so I'm going to say that is it for this one. So thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. And until next time, stay safe. And yes, what did my wife brought me the F4 Phantom from DCD Designs, which I'll fly and we'll have some fun with later on stream. So thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.